All right, we're back with another interview with one of my partners. We're bringing you the nuggets, the wisdom, the experiences firsthand working in the business, finding traction, and building an income in life in real estate. And so I'm stoked to introduce one of my partners coming to us from Vancouver, Washington, way up in the Pacific Northwest. This young man started in real estate a little over 2 years ago, hitting the ground running, fresh out of real estate school with me here at eXp Realty. And since that time, he has built a highly productive real estate business, consistently closing deals. He's a multi-million-dollar producer, and he's about to share some of the things he's learned along the way right here on the channel. And speaking of which, if you're new to the channel, my name's Tyler Royke. I help people build income and wealth in real estate, and I run an international real estate team at eXp Realty. You're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed and hit that bell so that you don't miss any of the value I have in store in the time ahead. But let's get right to it, man. Tyler Skinner, dude, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. It's an honor to be here on your show. It's always great talking with you, man.
Likewise. And man, I'm so stoked for how the journey's played out and to kind of see your growth along the way, man. And honestly, it's still very young on that journey because, I mean, we're talking real estate. We're talking about, long-term wealth and opportunity. We're only 2 years into this, man. But before we get into all that stuff, like, what was life like? What were things like before you dove into the real estate industry, man?
Yeah, so I mean, before I got into real estate, I was kind of going along a more traditional road here, and was going to college to get in finance, interning over at a financial firm part time. And after around a year of that, I kind of realized that I wanted something a little bit more, something a little uh, not freeing in the sense of, do whatever you want, but freeing in the sense that you can build whatever you want and really make your work count and build on top, stack on top of itself and really develop something great here.
So you saw that opportunity with real estate. I mean, is that why you decided to dive into it, or like what did you see with it?
Yeah, funny enough, I think I have a pretty unique uh, pathway into real estate. I've always been a kind of entrepreneurial mind through different things I've done in my life, mainly through high school and part of college. And I saw real estate being a great opportunity to kind of branch into that entrepreneurship role, but have a backbone of a business that's something that, in my opinion, I mean, there's not a whole lot of overhead if you do it right. There's a lot of growth potential. It's very fulfilling in my mind, and yeah, I mean that's really why I got into it. The only thing that kind of scared me away at first was the whole sales aspect, but kind of going into it, I've loved it ever since I started.
That's awesome to hear, man. And so, along the way, you got licensed, you dove into the industry, and out of every single place you could have gone, you went with EXP, man. So, like, I guess what was it that you saw with EXP Realty, and kind of why did you decide to go that direction? Over perhaps some of the more local, traditional brand names in your market area.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was a pretty big decision. I interviewed with quite a few different brokerages. Um, for what I wanted to do, EXP really spoke to me. You have the whole, local teams and, more of that structure that you get at a lot of brokerages, but it also allows you to really create your own business. It's somewhere that I can see myself sticking around forever. I mean, I talk to people all the time about creating, they're saying, oh, once you become a managing broker, which in Washington you need 5 years experience, you should go create your own brokerage. And I say to them every time, I don't think I'd ever do that. It just doesn't make sense. Here at EXP, you can kind of develop that in-house, cut out all the overhead and just build your business without ever having to kind of change course or a lot of brokerages, if you want to do that, you got to buy a franchise, which requires huge investments. And like I said, a lot of overhead, where EXP just kind of allowed me to go on my own route of being independent and having that future of, 5, 10 years down the line, creating that, bigger team or kind of empire that I really want to grow into.
So you see more of an opportunity for growth, is what it sounds like. So you weren't even just thinking about like, hey, near term. You were thinking like about what the future would look like when you decide to go this direction.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little of both. I started off, a lot of people go the route of joining a structured team, which is great. A local team where it's a lot like a 9 to 5 job where, they're telling you what to do. They're, obviously taking some portions out of that for, the help they're providing. EXP allowed me to have that opportunity, but ultimately I decided to stick on my own and kind of be more independent, and it allowed me that avenue to stay independent and then eventually maybe build up into something bigger for myself. Whereas a lot of other brokerages, that really didn't seem like an offer there.
Yeah, I gotcha. So, like, what have you kind of having time on task now? Like, you know what it was like from the outside looking in. You also know what it's like, being on the inside and what it, really all amounts to. So, like, what have you personally found to be the most beneficial thing about operating your business here at eXp Realty?
To be honest, I know it's crazy because it's online brokerage, but the collaboration, I mean, especially starting out, just having resources all around the world, not even the United States, literally all around the entire globe. Of obviously there's referrals where people have clients that are moving to my area that I can take advantage of and help them out, but you don't really see kind of that same collaboration like you do at EXP, mainly because I mean from what I've heard at a lot of different brokerages, even just on the referral aspect I was talking about, a lot of those referrals go to a single person at that firm or the team lead at the firm. uh, Whereas EXP, it's kind of it opens the door a lot more to talk to bigger players to benefit from other people in the industry, not only because everyone's great and wants to help each other out, but there's really no harm in me helping someone out across the country. I mean, it's not like they're going to steal my market. It's not anything along those lines. And I mean, that's a selfish way to think. Even locally, I wouldn't think too much like that. But I think that's what creates the kind of hospitality you see at EXP is that everyone kind of benefits off of everyone growing. There's not a whole lot of competition between agents at the brokerage.
Yeah, very well put. And yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that hey, the collaboration has been a difference maker, and it sounds like you've personally gotten business closed with how that all works within the company. That's really really amazing to hear, and I love to hear it. Uh, like, what about well, actually, let's kind of shift gears and kind of look to, I mean, the flip side, because I mean, reality is, I know that people are hearing this, watching this now, and it's exciting to hear about the wins, the successes. We're making it happen, but there's a whole nother side of that that I feel doesn't really get acknowledged enough in our industry, which is the challenges, the obstacles. So what would you say if you're thinking of your journey so far in real estate? What's the most difficult thing you've had to overcome since getting started with it?
Um, I mean, it's kind of a little cliche, but to be honest, getting the first deal closed. I know you started out kind of hyping me up a little bit, saying I hit the ground running. Did not hit the ground running fast enough. It took about 7 months for me to start even jogging, to be honest. Uh, and definitely the biggest challenge was getting in the groove of things, getting that first one, you know, through and done, and developing that confidence to not only help people, but know that I can do the work and know that I'm doing it the best I can and the best that anyone can here. So it was definitely a little bit of a struggle to start out. And, coming from being a younger guy in college, a lot of my, sphere, my personal sphere is not where I got my business from. They saw me as a younger kid who just got in real estate, who wants to work with someone like that. All my business came from people I've never met before. And funny enough, that's who trusted me first. Now, as I'm kind of maturing in the industry, I'm getting more of that sphere that, wants to work with me because they see what I'm doing. But to be honest, starting out, it was a little bit of a, sink or swim. And you just had to kind of grind it out, get, meet new people, and then kind of build on that.
So that first 7 months, what was it like? Like coming up on month 4, 5, 6? Like, was there ever a point in time where you like questioned if you were on the right path, or like any doubts as far as like, is this worth it? Should I keep going? Because like I know a lot of people, man, like they don't even make it that far. And I'm sure that there's people that probably have the same thought just sooner, like, 2 months, 3 months in. Like, I've even seen recently people that didn't even make it 2 months and they threw in the towel. And, maybe if they had more in the pipeline, maybe they wouldn't have made that decision. But what was that like for you? Like, were you just like sheer grit? Hey, I'm going to make this work, or did you have those kind of doubts? Before you saw the initial wins.
You know, I want to say that I was just pure grit, but to be honest, I probably had those thoughts creep in a little bit. Um, I think I benefited a lot from coming in prepared. I came in with the knowledge that a lot of agents don't close a deal very fast. A lot of new agents quit in the first year before they see any success. I knew that before I got in. So I was, had the foresight to prepare for that, save up money that I knew I could rely on. But at the same time, after 6 months of not seeing, any, um, any income, to put it blatantly, it did get a little bit questionable. Luckily, I was working with a few clients, and this was 2021, pure hype of the real estate market, where it was super hard to work with buyers, get them accepted, especially, clients I was working with, a lot of, first time home buyers, where I've had around 3 clients I was working with. Uh, and I think 2 out of the 3, I put in several offers at that point and not gotten anything. So I knew it was just a matter of time before one of them closed, and I think that helped me out. And then also, like I said, just coming in with that foresight of knowing what to expect, and not to say that everyone should expect not to make any money for 7 months or longer. We've seen, I know you and me personally have seen people hit the ground really running day one and close a deal in a month. Uh, it all just comes down to really how much work you want to put in. And I think what really opened my eyes, I forgot who even told it to me, but someone told me, "Hey, you've been working with the same 3 clients for 7 months, hasn't turned into anything. I know you feel like your plate's full, but get new clients. I mean, you can still help them out and work with those people, but you got to constantly fill that pipeline." And what you learn really quickly is that some people will take 7 months, a year, even 2 years. Other people, they'll take a month and they'll find the perfect home, and they'll be happy. And so it's constantly about filling the pipeline with more and more people so that you can generate a steady income. And funny enough, we might be getting into this. I may be jumping the gun a little bit, but it was funny how after I closed my first deal, I had like 3 more close in 2 months after that. It really built on itself because I saw that it was working, and I knew that, hey, I got to keep on filling that pipeline. I can't just rely on the same 3 clients. I mean, it's the definition of insanity, right? You can't just keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
Yeah, wow, that was a lot of value. Like that's a piece I'd go back and rewatch, because like there was a few things I could pick out there, but like for instance, it's like you said something where like, hey, I was prepared going into this, and like I think most people know the reality of the industry, but like they don't think it's applies to them. Like we never think like going into things like this that we're a statistic. It's like, so I don't think there's, I'd be surprised. Well, I might be wrong on this, but at least from the people I talk to, I feel like people really do have a solid grasp of, the fact that almost 9 out of 10 newly licensed agents don't make it in this industry, and most of them drop out very quickly at that. But like the thing is, though, it's like even if you know that, it's different when you have to actually face it. It's like, hey, we get the stat, but like what's the reality of your life when you're 4 or 5 months in and you don't have a deal closed and you've been putting in the effort, the energy, the work? It's like, you knew the stat, but what's it really like to face it at that point? And fact is, most people aren't prepared for that. Most people, like, they can't stomach that. Another thing you pointed out, I want to point this out too, which is, talking about, hey, these 3 clients. It's like, yeah, I mean, imagine you have 3 clients for 7 months. It's like, if your business is relying on 3 people, that's a high risk. Like that would be a risky business. That's not a business that any wise investor would want to touch, because like, what are the chances of going out of business if you are relying on 3 people? You need more opportunities than that. You need to fill that pipeline. And that's something where um you know i I've come to see it in the conversations I have when I'm checking in with team members, with any agents I'm working with, and I ask them about their business. If they start telling me about one client they're working with, I know that they're in pain. I know they're in pain because it's literally the only thing they can think to talk about is this one person they're helping through the process. And it's the same thing comes to mind. It's like, okay, it's good we have an opportunity, but we need to fill that pipeline. We need to focus more so on filling the pipeline than fulfilling the obligations or the job we have to take care of this one person. Because if 3 people, even if it were 5 or 8 people, it's like, if that's all we're spending our time doing, well, what if none of them close? What if they all back out for some reason? Then we're starting at zero, and now we got to rebuild up the momentum, and the timeline just got longer. So, dude, that's really cool to hear that you had that thought at some point and realization, because it sounds like you significantly started to build your pipeline up more after realizing that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was the game changer because I felt like I was too busy with, I mean, it sounds crazy saying it now, with working with 3 people. Um, and so I just wasn't putting myself out there to get anything more than that. And, once I saw the results from, changing that up, kept on doing that and it just worked out. And, it's like you said, you gotta fill the pipeline. You gotta change something up, and you can do both and take care of your current clients and still, uh, you know, get new ones. Uh, obviously you don't want to spread yourself too thin, but I promise you, if you ever have too many clients, there's at least 20 other agents in your area that will happily take on a new client for you, and give you a referral fee. So it's don't ever be worried about having too many leads.
Yeah, that's a great point. We should never be scared of taking on two business. There's always a solution. There's always a way to turn it into something, even if we're at full capacity. Which full capacity is so much further than most people think it is, or even feel like it is.
Hmm.
It's the thing is they're just not used to working business. If someone's got like a handful of clients they're working with, it's because they haven't yet increased their capacity. They feel like that's a lot, when reality is it's like, hey, if we just dial in the process, there's so much more that you could possibly handle. But so yeah, like let's talk about, I mean, on the flip side, the wins, the successes. Obviously you've seen some traction, you've seen some positive things happen. So what would you say that the success you found so far in real estate, how has that impacted your life?
Um, I mean, it sounds really corny to say, but honestly, more than anything, I feel like I found something that I really love to do. I mean, like I kind of alluded to at the beginning, I was worried about, being salesy because I've never been a salesperson before, really. But after being in the industry for so long, I love it. I mean, I've never loved a job more. this because literally every single client I work with, every single client I got to the finish line, they're like a best friend, a good friend, and family to me. And then I've gone out with clients before. I've gone to their house for dinner after they closed. I've had great experiences with so many clients, and I'm working with someone right now where I'm driving them around showing houses, and I don't always drive people around. I love driving them around because we're just cracking jokes the whole time. It's like hanging out with a friend at the same time as working. Uh, obviously, finding success and closing deals is great to, be generating income, but more than anything, I feel blessed to have found something that I actually enjoy doing. Uh, because I almost went into finance, and the reason why I stepped away from that and got into real estate is because I realized, hey, I'm getting at that age where I'm going to college. I got to find a career. If I stick with this, I'm going to be here for 40 years. How am I going to like my life when I'm 50 years old here? Am I going to still want to be doing this, or am I going to, wish I did something different? Whereas what I'm doing now, I don't think, 40 years from now, I think my business will look a whole lot different. I think I'll be happy with the choices I made now.
That's awesome, man. Seeing the bigger picture with it and like really having found something you actually enjoy doing. That's like really, really cool, man, to know that. Um, And so, having firsthand been through the process, honestly, the hardest part about real estate is, I believe, going from zero to something in it. So, like, what's the biggest breakthrough that you had going from zero business, no clients, brand new to the industry? A young person at that, which a lot of people believe that that's a challenge. I personally believe it's an advantage, but nonetheless, what's the biggest breakthrough you had going from zero clients, $0 in real estate to where you're at today, closing multiple millions worth of volume and, continually building upon that business?
Yeah, I mean, breakthrough in the sense of what got me there, or breakthrough as in, I mean, what exactly you mean by that?
Like what you learned in the process, like what would you say the
Okay.
most valuable thing you learned in the process that maybe you didn't know when you had no business, but now you know to be true now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the biggest takeaway I learned is uh, you kind of learn as you go. People get worried about not knowing, not being confident in themselves to do the job. But if you have the mentality that you can figure anything out, which you can, go ahead, go full force, because you'll figure it out at the end of the day. You have resources, you have managing brokers. I mean, in Washington, at least, it's required by law that you have a mentor as a new real estate agent. And I know with EXP, that's standard everywhere. That you have resources to get you out of any situation, to lean on for any kind of insight. And I know when I was starting, that's what I was worried about. That's what I was telling myself of, hey, this is why I don't want to take on more clients, because I want to make sure that I know what I'm doing 100%. And then, it really, I mean, it's again, another cliche line, fake it till you make it, but don't fake it. You know, you're, you coming in with the mentality that you're going to figure it all out. I was talking to this guy at when I was going to college. He was doing a talk there about how he started his construction tiny home business, and he was talking with some investor about, you know, getting in on a deal to do something with some kind of zoning. I can't remember. It was quite a while ago, and what he told everyone is, he went into that meeting with the investor and gave him the confidence that he knew what he was doing. He could do it all. He could get through anything to make this happen. And in reality, what he told us is he had no clue what he was doing. He's never done it before. But what he knew is that he had the mindset and the will to figure it all out. And so what he did is, after he got that deal done, of getting that commitment from the investor, he went home and studied all night for multiple days and figured out everything so that he knew what he was doing. He said, it's, I don't know if I'd take this to heart in every aspect, but he said, I wasn't lying, I was telling the truth in advance. I I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I knew I would. So, um, and I think that's a good takeaway for anything in life. I mean, not even just real estate. You just got to, uh, like I said, kind of fake it, but actually tell the truth in advance. You know that you're going to be able to do all that stuff, and then when it comes to actually put in the work, put in that work. You know,
Yeah, tell I've never heard that before. Tell the truth in advance. That's funny. But like the situation really conveys a sense of resourcefulness, hunger, and determination to do what is required. And like on that note, I'd say that too. It's like doing what's required. See, a lot of people will have the mindset that they're going to do their best or give this the best shot, you know. But that's not really what you should do. You should do what's required because, you know, fact is, it's like if you want to, you know, really seize the opportunity, if you're serious about it, it doesn't matter if it's your best or not. Like, you got to step up to the plate and do what's required, which that's what I heard in that story too. It's like he was willing to do that, you know, and he was willing to commit to that even if he hadn't done it before, and that's very powerful because like that confidence, you know, when people can really see that you believe in yourself and that you really believe in what it is you're saying, it's like there's a different, you know, there's a different level of authenticity that has versus, you know, saying something that you don't believe in or doubting yourself. And so you know, I'm not surprised to hear he got the opportunity, just kind of understanding the way that he actually committed to it. And so that really speaks a lot. There's a lot of value in what you just shared there. Now, kind of on that same note, if you could go back in time to your first day in the real estate business and give yourself just one nugget, one piece of advice, and that's it, what would it be?
stop sitting around and waiting for something to fall in your lap and go out and get new clients. I mean, that's all I've been kind of harping on, but I really think that's key for anyone new is to really fill that pipeline. Because you know that those 7 months, it's not like I was going out there every day trying to get new clients and not getting any. That doesn't happen. You can't try something for seven. You can't lead gen for 7 months and not get any clients. What was happening is I wasn't doing anything. I was, you know, showing houses, yeah, to the three people that fell in my lap, but I wasn't, you know, going out there every day. And that's something I still need to focus more on and do better. I mean, I know you're hyping me up from the beginning here, but I know I've got a long way to grow. I don't want to be where I'm at next year where I'm at right now. And that comes with, you know, doing more to drive those end results. And in real estate, a lot of that has to do with lead gen. And, you know, I know when I started, I was nervous. I had my cold call, and I found out quick enough that, hey, I don't mind doing open houses. I'm pretty decent at this. And so now I just kind of focus on that. I kind of, you know, fallen in a slump a little bit where I felt like I was too busy to do open houses on the weekends because I have a few people I'm showing houses every weekend. But now I got to focus on that aspect still, and you know, maybe do something else during the weekdays, or maybe shoot throw an open house when I'm not doing something Friday, and maybe a couple people show up, but that's you know a couple more opportunities.
Yeah, that 100%. So open houses, is that where you found your groove? And I think it's actually, you know, good point you mentioned. It's like, hey, I did this, I did that, and I quickly figured out that's not my thing, but this is. So you know, open houses, is that where you've kind of honed your craft and kind of what you do consistently to generate new business?
Definitely, you know, I've gotten lucky. Luckily, I've gotten quite a few leads off of previous clients, especially starting out when I wasn't doing the open houses. That's where the first couple deals actually came from, was past clients. And you know, I don't mean to kind of go all over the place, but just going back to the last point of being confident. My first client ever loved what I did for him so much that he referred over three other people to me over you know a year and a half. But my first client gave me my third and fourth client. Funny enough, because even though I was brand new in the game, because I was brand new, because I was young, because I had all this time. You know, you not to say being young or anything, but I mean, I had no other commitments. I was going above and beyond to do anything I needed to do. I mean, I was doing pretty much whatever he wanted me to do, anything I could do to make his life easier, just because I believed that, that would pay off in the end. Uh, and sorry, I went a little bit off track.
Oh,
What?
good.
Yeah. What
No,
was?
dude, that's incredible to know that you
Yeah.
like got two referrals out of your like. So wait, three of your first four deals came from like the same source, essentially.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and
crazy.
the funny thing is my first client ever came from another EXP agent out of out of Louisiana. So they
Oh
referred over
wow.
him, and he gave, he gave his brother and a couple of his friends to me, to help out. And but going back to the open houses, yeah, recently in the last year or so, I found that, that was my favorite thing, because you can depend on previous client, or you can, have that pipeline of previous clients helping you out, or other agent referrals, but that's not really active lead gen. That's waiting for someone to land on your lap. uh, and those are always nice. It's nice to have a way up every time, but you got to go for the threes sometimes. And what I found is, being in open houses, I just kind of nailed it down. And my process is to get get buyers from those. I have a pretty decent conversion rate of, and pretty decent rate of getting people's information. And a lot of agents say, "Oh, take down everyone's info when they walk in the door." I never do that, because I don't know what's a real lead or not. And it's not a bad idea to market to people, but I like to connect with them a little bit deeper, and have them, a lot of times, offer to give me their information. I didn't even ask, because they want me to go show something I'm talking about to them. And I've had great experiences with that. And I like sitting in houses only talking to people. Uh, and, obviously, you're not going to catch 100% that go into an open house. I mean, a lot of them are serious buyers, a lot of them are working with agents, but those are all objections that, I mean, you can come over one of them, and if they're not a serious buyer, oh well. I mean, that's just the way life goes. But I definitely have honed in on that aspect, and I enjoy it, because I know, a lot of times from the conversation in person, I can tell how serious someone is. I can tell, if this is someone that I really want to work with, I want to dedicate time to, or if this is someone that, maybe, I'll give it a shot, but I'm not going to dedicate that much time to. And I know it sounds kind of bad to pick and choose, but that's kind of what you need to do, especially the way I operate my business is, I try to put in a lot of work and show my value up front. So I can't do that for 100 different people, especially if, 95 of them aren't really going to be serious about it. So I can kind of hone in on the, five people that really want my help, and then wow them with my initial email, my initial, I like to give information about the whole area, because I meet a lot of people that are moving from out of town. They don't know anything about Vancouver. So when I come in and talk to them about different neighborhoods, different schools, and different nearby towns, and what's all going on there, what's developing, what's been growing, what's kind of been turning into a worse area, where to go, where to avoid, it wows them, because they never get that from an agent.
Yeah, that's a really valuable takeaway. Like you're filtering through people and really getting a sense of who it is that you need to spend more of your time with. That's really valuable. And the only way you get good at that is reps and times doing it and having these conversations and really getting to understand like what the things are that people will say that indicate that there's someone who's worth spending more time and energy with. But yeah, that's good. And I think those hearing this, it's like if they don't understand how to do that, I think the biggest thing, is hey, you got to get more reps in with what you're doing. You got to do more of it. That way, you start to get a better sense of people and how these conversations go and how to best navigate it. Because that's something I'm sure you've gotten better at as time's gone on, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, you find what works and stick to it, and don't change what's not broken. And that's something I picked up from an EXP agent. I mean, almost a year ago when we were at Cabo, he's like, well, I think that's what really kind of kicked it off for me to focus on open houses because he was asking me what I was doing for lead gen. And at the time, I was doing a couple open houses. I wasn't doing enough. And I was, talking about I didn't want to do other other lead gen aspects. He's like, well, our open house is working. I'm like, yeah, kind of. He's like, well, how many have you done? 10. How many deals have you closed? One, maybe two off those 10. And he's like, well, if you ramp it up 10x, and you'll get 10x the deals closed. And it makes sense. And so you find something that works for you, practice at it, get better, hone in on, and especially with open houses, hone in on how to make those conversations turn into relationships. And, this dish a little nugget out for agents right here is don't focus on closing a deal at an open house. It's probably not going to happen. I mean, don't tell this to the listing agent that's listing the house, but those buyers probably aren't going to buy that house. I mean, maybe I've never seen it, but maybe it happens, and probably if it does happen, they're already working with an agent. They're just looking at it by themselves, or maybe the agent's there. You got to focus on building a relationship with them above anything else, and just a little nugget is don't focus on the house you're sitting. Focus on other houses. Your goal is to get them to go look at something else with you, one on one. Because once you develop that relationship, they feel obligated to work with you if you're doing a good job. I mean, why would they go find a different agent to look at different houses if you're doing your job 100% and you're doing everything right? So if you break in to be that first agent to show them something, maybe the third agent, but you do it correctly and you actually stay on top of it, you're going to lock in the client, 99 times out of 100.
That's a great tip for open houses right there. For those who are newer to the game, like the point of the open house is not to sell the house. If it happens, it happens, but that shouldn't be your focal point. Your focal point should be exactly what Tyler just shared with you. That's good, man. And kind of rounding things out here, man, looking forward, I mean, you said it that, hey, I know I got some hype here, but, reality is I'm in the process of what it is I'm building. So, with that in mind, like, what do you most look forward to accomplishing in the time ahead, going forward?
Yeah, obviously, it's always great to step up the production. I'd love to, match up with some other players in the industry production wise, but also to build something here. And, ultimately the goal is to develop a team around here that I can help train and at the same time, you know, collaborate with here locally too. Because it's great. I have a bunch of resources, internationally. And I do have some resources locally, but I'd love to kind of step more into a mentorship role, in a couple of years here. Washington is required, funny enough. I kind of wish it was 3 years instead of 5. But, after 5 years, you can be a managing broker and start your own team. And that's really the goal long term is to really develop a bigger business. Because right now, my business is me. My business is Tyler Skinner. It's not anything else really. And, I have resources, but for the most part, a one man show, at least the client facing side.
That's awesome. And there's tons of opportunity to build that, but that's really cool that you got a vision to build upon your own production and get other people involved and create the opportunity that comes with that for them as well. So for someone who wants to put themselves in the best possible position in this industry to create lasting success working in the industry. Maybe they're just diving into it. Maybe they've been in the industry 1 or 2 or 3 years and just haven't seen the traction they, were after just yet. But, if they want to put themselves in the best possible position going forward to create lasting success, what's one thing you'd leave them with?
Can I do two?
I mean,
One for
go for it, man. Why not?
one for the new guys is come in prepared. I mean, don't have the mindset that it's going to take 7 months. Have the mindset that you're going to crush it. You're going to be the 1%. But if you come in I mean, it depends on the person. Some people might be able to swim, but if you come in with no preparation, no savings, expecting to kill it day one, I can see how, after a couple months of no income, you might have to bail out. Not, maybe not because you want to, but because you got to pay the bills. So come in with a cushion there and be prepared for, the blizzard. I mean, it's not easy starting. So definitely be prepared for that. And like I said, don't have that mindset and try to crush it and kind of go into that. If you've been in the industry for a year or two and not seen a lot of traction, I mean, if you've had at least one closed deal or a couple closed deals, look where that came from. How did you get those clients? If it was something you did actively, hone in on that. I mean, it worked once, so it can work again. So figure out what you did right to get that client and do it again and multiply it by 100. I mean, it goes back down to that open house thing. If I close one deal out of every 10, well, shoot, just do 100 open houses and you'll close 10. And, that's, it's not a ton of production, but it's enough to pay the bills for sure. So just, really hone in on what's working for you and double down on lead gen. I mean, always, it's never a bad idea to get more leads in the pipeline.
Well, there you have it. Tyler, man, thank you for hopping on and sharing. Man, I feel like there was a lot of wisdom and, hopefully somebody watching gets what we're putting down and goes and applies and makes a difference with it. But everyone, thank you for tuning in. And actually, let me leave you with this. If y'all got value out of what Tyler shared, fact is, both of us, Tyler and Tyler here, both of us are actually looking to connect and, potentially partner with people out there that are really committed and serious about building their lives and building their real estate businesses and doing the kind of things we spoke about applying here to do so if there's anything that you heard shared in our time here, I'd invite you to connect. The way you can do that is to reach out, send an email. You'll find that in the description below. But specifically, make sure you mention Tyler Skinner if he's somebody you would like to potentially connect with, and see how we could help and what we can bring to the table to help you progress and move towards your goals. Are you good with that? If anyone wants to reach out, man.
Yeah, 100%. I'm always happy to collaborate with people and, you know, provide ideas, brainstorm, and, see everyone win. I mean, that's the ultimate goal here. There's enough for everyone. So be honored to help people out and, help them get over a hump if that's what they're experiencing, or help them get in, break in the industry and get off running.
Yeah, so either way, reach out and connect, shoot an email. And Tyler, if anyone wants to kind of follow along your journey more specifically, is there a place that they could maybe follow or connect with you at?
Yeah. So I mean, I use Instagram quite a bit. Also have a Facebook. Both of them are Tyler ___ Skinner. I'm working on changing the handle there, but for now it's Tyler with 3 _ Skinner. And you can follow me on Instagram and all that. I post a bit of real estate and a bit of hiking because that's, try to keep a good mix there, keep everyone happy.
There you go. Well, awesome, man. Again, appreciate you hopping on and sharing the wisdom, man, and excited to see where we go from here and what we ultimately build it into. But everyone, thank you for watching. And, if somehow, some way you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that button, but also hit the bell. That way you don't miss another interview with one of my partners. And, the goal is to bring value and some of that insight firsthand that will help you ultimately succeed and get traction on the journey ahead. So anything we can do to help and add to that, connect with us, reach out. We're here to help with it. But until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.